It was a hot summer day in July 1518. The city of Strasbourg was quiet. Then, something strange happened. A woman named Frau Trophia stepped out of her home and into the street. She began to dance. There was no music. There was no festival. Her face was blank, her movements jerky and uncontrolled. She simply danced, alone under the summer sun. Her neighbors watched, confused. They likely thought she would stop after a few minutes, maybe after an hour, but she did not stop. The sun set, the moon rose, and still, Frau Trophea danced on, her body twisting and turning in the silent, empty street. For 6 long days, Frau Trophea danced without rest. By the end of the first week, her strange, solitary performance had attracted a crowd. People came from all over Strasbourg to witness the bizarre spectacle. They saw a woman whose feet were surely swollen and bruised, whose body must have been screaming in agony. Yet her relentless dance continued. Then, the unthinkable happened. One by one, others from the crowd began to join her, their own bodies starting to twitch and jerk. Within a week, more than 30 people were caught in the grip of this mysterious compulsion. They were not dancing for joy. Their expressions were filled with fear and desperation. They cried out for help, begged for mercy, but their limbs refused to obey. The strange, silent dance had become a public crisis. The city's leaders watched in horror, completely baffled by the phenomenon unfolding before their eyes. What was this strange affliction? Was it a curse? A disease? After consulting with each other, they dismissed the idea of a supernatural curse. They decided the dancers were suffering from hot blood. Their theory was that the only way to cure this condition was for the afflicted to dance the fever out of their systems. So the city leaders enacted one of the strangest medical prescriptions in history. They decided to encourage the dancing. They hired professional musicians to play pipes, drums, and horns. They brought the afflicted dancers to this stage, putting them on public display. Healthy, strong dancers were even paid to join the afflicted on stage to keep the energy high and ensure no one stopped. Onlookers who had come to watch the strange spectacle suddenly found their own feet tapping, their own bodies starting to sway uncontrollably. The constant music and the sight of hundreds of people dancing seemed only to fuel the plague. Instead of curing the dancers, the loud, festive atmosphere appeared to draw more people into the madness. The strategy backfired spectacularly. Dancers' feet shredded and bloody after constant stomping. Many danced until their shoes disintegrated, then kept going on bare, raw flesh. The constant, jarring motion led to broken bones and dislocated joints. Some would collapse, their bodies finally giving out, only to rise again after a few moments of unconsciousness and resume their frantic movements. At the peak, as many as 15 people were dying each day. The stage built to heal them had become a platform of death. The cheerful music of the hired minstrels now served as a soundtrack to a tragedy. Finally realizing their catastrophic error, the city council reversed its decision. The music was stopped, the stage was dismantled, public dancing was banned. The remaining dancers were gathered up and taken to a shrine dedicated to Saint Vitus. There they were made to pray for forgiveness. Slowly, over the next few weeks, the last of the dancers finally stopped moving. The bizarre, deadly plague came to an end. For centuries, historians and scientists have tried to solve the puzzle of the 1518 dancing plague. One of the most prominent theories is mass psychogenic illness, more commonly known as mass hysteria. The people of Strasbourg in 1518 lived in a world of extreme hardship. They faced famine, poverty, rampant disease. Another compelling scientific theory points to a physical cause, ergot poisoning. Ergot is a type of mold that can grow on damp rye, which was a staple food used to make bread. Consuming ergot-laced bread can cause severe muscle spasms, convulsions, hallucinations. However, this theory has its weaknesses. While ergot can cause spasms, it typically doesn't produce the coordinated, day-long dancing described in accounts. A third explanation looks at the powerful role of belief and religion. Some historians argue that the dancing was a form of religious ecstasy, perhaps linked to a heretical cult. This would explain why the plague only seemed to end after the dancers were taken to a shrine dedicated to him and performed acts of religious penance. Ultimately, the dancing plague of 1518 remains one of history's most baffling, unsolved mysteries. Was it a psychological breakdown, a case of accidental poisoning, a religious ritual gone wrong, or a combination of all three?